It's after the meeting. Someone catches you by the lift or drops into your messages, and it starts the same way it always starts. Can I be honest with you for a second? And then a name. Someone who isn't in the room. And there's a small pull in your chest, and it isn't a nasty feeling. It's flattering. You've just been trusted, or you've just been warned. Either way, you've been let in. Or it's the quieter version. Two people you work with have stopped speaking, and both of them have been unusually warm to you this week. Nobody has asked you to pick a side. You can just feel yourself being weighed. Here's what almost everyone does in the next 30 seconds, and why every version of it signs you up to a game you cannot win. Then I'll give you the sentence that takes you out of it permanently. It's 6 words long, and it doesn't accuse anybody of anything. There are 3 doors here. All 3 make you part of the machine. The first is to join in. Not viciously. That's not how it happens. You just agree. Yeah, I've noticed that too. It costs nothing, except that you have now said something about an absent person to somebody who repeats things. And you know they repeat things because they are repeating something to you right now. Everything you say in that conversation is a deposit into an account you don't control, and you will not be told when it's withdrawn. The second door is to decide you'll play it better than they do. Fine. It's a game, and you're capable. So you build the alliances. You manage who hears what and when. And it works. That's the trap. It genuinely works. Here's the price. It never ends. There is no version of this where you win office politics and then stop. You've taken on a second job you can never resign from. It runs all evening, and it pays in a currency your actual work doesn't accept. The third door is the one that catches good people, because it looks like restraint. You stay out of it, but you stay informed. You don't say anything. You just listen. And listening feels neutral. It isn't. Nobody has ever walked away from that conversation thinking you disagreed. To the person talking, your silence was a yes. And now you're carrying something you are never going to act on, which means the only thing it can possibly do is change how you look at someone across a desk on Monday morning. Here's the thread tying all 3 together. Every one of them requires you to be a channel. Office politics isn't something people do to each other. It's a network they build, and a network can't run without wires, which is the whole opportunity. Nothing travels down a wire that refuses to carry it. In the year 175, the most powerful general in the Roman East, Avidius Cassius, declared himself emperor. Marcus Aurelius was still alive. The rumor of his death was false. It was a genuine coup. Governors, senators, at least one client king, had let it be known they were behind it. 3 months later, Cassius was dead, killed by his own officers, and Marcus was handed the papers. Cassius's correspondence, every letter, the names of everyone in the empire who had written to say they were with him. The historian Cassius Dio records what Marcus did with them. He had them destroyed without reading them, so that he would not learn who had been against him and be forced to hate them. Sit with the size of that. The most powerful man alive is handed a complete list of his enemies, and he decides that knowing would cost him more than not knowing. He didn't forgive them. That's not what happened. He never let it arrive. He understood that the list could do nothing for him except make him a colder man and a worse emperor, and that once he read it, he could not unread it. You are never going to be handed anything that serious. But you're offered a small version of it, roughly twice a week. Epictetus gave his students a rule about this so specific it reads like a workplace policy. Be mostly silent, he said. When you do speak, don't talk about the races or the games or what you ate. And then this, above all, do not talk about people, either blaming or praising or comparing them. Praising. That's the word people trip over. Because if you're the man who sits in judgment on absent colleagues, warmly, you're still the man who sits in judgment on absent colleagues, and everyone listening can work out that the machine runs in both directions. Marcus put the same idea to himself in his private notebook. How much trouble he avoids, who doesn't look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only to what he does himself, that it may be just and pure. Not who rises above it, who doesn't look. Now the moves, 3 of them. Move 1, the sentence. When someone brings you a complaint about a person who isn't there, you say, I'd rather hear that from them. Warm, no edge. Then carry on with what you were doing. Understand what that sentence does, because it's doing more than it sounds like. You haven't defended the absent person. You haven't accused the one in front of you. You haven't taken any moral position at all, which is exactly why there's nothing to push back against. You've simply closed the route. Say it twice to the same person, and they'll stop bringing things to you. Not offended, just rerouted. Move 2. Burn the letters. Things will still reach you. You can't seal yourself off. So when something lands, ask one question. Is there anything I would actually do because of this? If the answer is yes, do it once, directly, with the person it concerns. If the answer is no, and it is almost always no, then you're not bearing it in mind. You're carrying it, and it will do nothing for the rest of the year except make a colleague slightly harder to look at. Move 3. Be the same man in both rooms. Say about people only what you'd be content to have repeated with your name attached. Then take the step almost nobody takes. Say the good things when they're not there. Not as a tactic, because a network still has to route the real information through somebody. And if you're the one person whose account of a colleague is never poisoned, you quietly become the one people bring the actual work to. You don't win this game by playing it well. You win it by becoming the node nobody can use. Seneca warned about the version of this that nobody notices happening. To consort with the crowd is harmful. There is no person who does not make some vice attractive to us, or stamp it upon us, or taint us unconsciously therewith. Unconsciously. Nobody decides to become political. They just spend 18 months standing next to it. So here's the rule. Write it down. Be no one's back channel. Tomorrow, 3 things. 1. The next time a name arrives from someone who isn't that person, use the sentence. Those exact words, I'd rather hear that from them. 2. Pick one thing you're currently carrying about a colleague that you are never going to act on, and decide tonight that it's gone. 3. This week, say one good thing about someone in a room they aren't standing in. You will not be able to stop the politics. Marcus couldn't. His own general raised an army against him. What you control is whether it runs through you. Become the one person it can't use, and in about 6 months you'll notice something strange. It stops coming to you at all. If this helped, the Stoic Operator Journal in the description is built for exactly this, a 1-page weekly system for staying calm when it counts. And watch this one next. When a coworker tries to make you look bad, do this.